Hey, it's Mike Spinelli. Welcome to Road Testament. I have today with me Alex Roy. You know him from Live and Let Drive on Drive, and also one of the creators of this show. Hi, Alex.
The Road Testament.
Road Testament. Came up with the name, I think you did.
Well, the others were interstatements. What's today's topic?
Well, before we get to the topic, I just want to again reiterate, we are at Drive on Twitter. Not at Drive TV anymore, at Drive.
Yes.
So if you want to tweet or whatever.
Now, I'm very excited about today's topic because it's a topic after my heart because of a car I own.
Yes, and also it comes out of a weird conversation that we had once about...
Can we say this on air?
Well, yeah, we have to because we're actually doing the show about it.
The conversation would be about a website, which in theory would be strange, strangefuxx.com.
Right. Pop cultural figures who you would never have expected to have had sex with each other. And we have two examples, and we are going to turn that into a metaphor for manufacturers. Oh, by the way, so allegedly now I don't know if you know Doris Day here on the left. Allegedly had a little bit of a
made
some love with soul brother Sly Stone,
who was an expert at the style of the chien.
Exactly.
And,
so I mean, you would not expect them together.
Nor would you necessarily want to see them do it.
No, and they sort of Strange Bedfellows, that whole...
FUXX.
Exactly. Now, if you also go to, Marilyn Monroe and
Albert Einstein
also allegedly had an affair of some sort.
And if you're too young to recall why this would be so weird, and just even by the picture, that'd be like Stephen Hawking and Gisele Bündchen today. You know, and
yes.
You might want to see how they do it, but you wouldn't want to pay for the video. You'd rip it online. You wouldn't buy the DVD.
You probably would rip it, yeah.
Which leads us to manufacturers of cars.
Who have gotten together
and
sort of,
created things.
And creative things.
You want to drive, but you don't want to own.
Exactly. Sort of Strange Bedfellows of the automotive world. The Dodge Monaco
ES was the better version.
Right? This is when AMC and Chrysler and Renault ended up in the same company.
It's
very strange, right? It's a piece of junk.
It didn't sell in France.
Exactly. Also, if you go to the next slide, you'll see how maybe a more favorable Strange Bedfellow, Porsche did the engine of the Harley-Davidson V-Rod.
Which is interesting, actually, because in the prior case, it's a car nobody wants with any badge.
Right.
But this is something, I don't think any Harley guys buying this model. And if they knew Porsche was involved, would definitely not buy it.
But do you think Porsche guys are buying this?
Well, because a lot of Porsche guys, I think, just buy things just to have them for the cachet. And I think if a Porsche guy goes on a Harley dealership, this is the one he's going to walk out with.
Perhaps.
Because he's not a Harley guy, he's a Porsche guy who wants a bike.
Right. I don't know. You don't see a lot of V-Rods around. I almost called it an A-Rod, but that's a
bad joke. Next.
Okay, all right. So now our version of Strange Bedfellows is Subaru and Toyota getting together, putting the Boxer in the new BRZ for Subaru and the FRS for Scion.
And this, by the way, it's supposed to be a good car.
It's supposed to be great.
Rare mixing of knowledge.
Right.
But it's also a car that makes no sense. But it's
they're two Japanese companies. It doesn't seem ridiculous, but maybe. But you wouldn't expect, at least when you look at enthusiasts, you wouldn't Subaru guys. You wouldn't expect to be with Toyota guys nowadays because Toyota doesn't really have anything else that's exciting and sort of sporty.
That seems like
that is kind of weird.
But go on.
But anyway, so this is what we've got now. So let's look back at some of the other strange bedfellows of the automotive industry.
It just seems, as soon as you go to this picture, that these automotive bedfellows actually, in the modern era, have become wiser.
Yeah.
Yes, because if you look, can you name any automotive bedfellow from the old days that made any sense?
Well, certainly not Chrysler and Maserati.
And this was the Le Baron.
This was, I think, the Chrysler Maserati TC. Now, you look at it this way, right? So the Italians, as it turns out, seem to be the call girls of the automotive industry during the 70s and 80s and 90s.
I'm so glad you're Italian, so you can say that, because if I did, I'd get hammered in the comments.
My grandparents came here from the old world, and I can now say, All right, wait a minute.
Well, that's...
You own one of these cars. It's a Citroen SM.
Well, you're suggesting that the Italians hoard out Maserati to the Citroen when they built this car?
I think Italians provided something to the auto industry that the auto industry didn't have. It was sort of a little bit more flashiness, a little bit more sexiness, a little bit more motorsports related.
Actually, I guess what you're saying is absolutely true because Citroen could not design and build an engine to put into the SM, and they bought Maserati and stuck it in an engine. And like a prostitute, she delivered less than was needed at a price higher than unexpected,
yes.
And left them behind with less than what they wanted.
Right, exactly. An empty wallet and a little bit of afterglow. But I mean, the afterglow is this, though.
Yes.
I mean, how do you
the engine's the weakest part, but it adds a lot to the car's charm.
Right.
And in a strange case, this is an Automotive Bedfellow that produced a fantastic car. I love the car. My SM is a wonderful car.
Yeah.
So and by the way, and like a great woman of the night, you would pay again.
Wow. All right.
And that's the thing about all weird vintage sports cars. Next.
Now, this is interesting. So Lamborghini, now we move on from Maserati to Lamborghini. Lamborghini and BMW got together on the M1.
And interestingly, this car would sell with several different badges on it. And if a Lambo badge was on it, it would be make perfect sense.
Now, that's interesting.
It makes less sense with a BMW badge on it than it does a Lambo.
Well, at the time, it certainly did. Yeah. So, I mean, do you think... I mean, the M1 was built for a racing series that before this thing could race in it, it actually was gone. And
in a rare case, many cars are ahead of their time. This car was behind its time.
It was actually behind its time by about 5 years.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, but I mean, like every other Italian car of the era, it came out a little bit behind the times anyway. So maybe it would have worked a little bit better as a Lamborghini.
That's some cars that's its charm.
Yeah.
So
now Lamborghini also spread its love to Dodge when Dodge owned Lamborghini.
Well, this is not a case of prostitution. They had knowledge that Dodge needed.
Right. So Lamborghini engineers took the very trucky V10 and turned it into a racing engine. I don't hold this against Lamborghini. I don't think it cheapens the brand, and no one on the other side cares. In fact, if anything, it's not even advertised. Yeah, you never really hear about it.
Which is totally, contradicts the whole theory of brands working together.
Right.
But
so it's not like the Lamborghini Dodge Viper.
No, I mean
by the time the Viper came out, Lamborghini was gone.
That's like the Ford branded Chevy Grand Am car. Right. A whole different situation.
Exactly. All right. So now we've been talking about American cars getting attacked. We had been, the Maserati TC and American cars getting some Italian infusion. What about Italian cars getting an American infusion?
So this is when the hooker calls the John and says, "Listen, I don't want you to pay me. I just need a favor. I just can't make the rent this month, but I have a flu.
Right,
Help
exactly.
me out.
Can you give me some money for a doctor's appointment?"
Yes. And
basically that's what they did. So the Maserati Quattroporte had a Chrysler Torque Flight transmission in it.
And so
there it is, right there.
As Hitler would say in his video, in 100 years you will have 4 rims and a mint condition Torque Flight sitting in it after a nuclear attack.
Probably this is like the cockroach of that car. There's the only thing left of a modern Quattroporte. Also, same exact thing with the Ferrari 400i, the much maligned Ferrari 400i had a GM Hydromatic, the Turbo 400 transmission.
I mean, in fact, they should have used that as the primary selling point because they might have sold some to the new demographic.
Well, it may be.
It might be cheaper if you needed that transmission today as for spare parts. Cheaper to buy a 400i and take the tranny out. Good, yeah, excellent.
But that's interesting. The 400i may be the cheapest 12-cylinder you can buy right now.
Which inspires an idea, which is that we do the most expensive 4-cylinder Comparo.
Oh, we totally have to do that. Yeah, next time you're on.
Yeah.
All right, also, Alfa Romeo and Saab got together. So the Alfa Romeo 164, and that leads us to the Saab 9000. Also, basically the same car as the Alfa.
And what's interesting, this is a rare case where the same same underpinning, and both manufacturers produce an awesomely cool car, which looks nothing like the other one.
Exactly.
And which is really and depreciated a lot, and you can pick your flavor.
Exactly. And there's a third one, and it's the it was
Lancia
a Lancia Thema with a Ferrari engine, I believe.
And that car was really interesting and never didn't sell, but had a Ferrari V8.
Right.
With a stick in a
yes.
sedan.
Except now that when you look at the Lancia Thema now, it's a Dodge. It's a Chrysler 300.
Which is
It's a Chrysler product. Yeah.
Which
brings us right back
to the beginning.
To the beginning, exactly.
And another idea, which is why isn't there a website specializing in just badging, so you can buy your brand engineered different chassis product? Because how many cars are there you would buy with a different badge?
They do that. You can buy Holden Monaro badges for a late model GTO. You can do that, yes.
Well, I mean, I would totally drive this car, the Lancia badge.
I would, yeah.
In fact, the badge should cost $10,000.
Exactly.
Because that's what it would cost if it came under that brand in the U.S.
Exactly. And that's Road Testament for today.
Good job, Spinelli.
At Drive.
At Drive.
Thanks, Alex.
That was
See you
funny.
next time.
Very entertaining.
It's cool, yeah. See you later.